Half a day and welcome back to Living It Good. On this video, I will be going over how my fishing story started, and then I'm going to go over my kayak, tackle setup, and favorite jigs. My fishing interest started in Fort Riley, Kansas, where I had a lot of good experience fishing freshwater. I caught a lot of big fish, and my kids and family had a blast while we were out there. And here on this video, my boy is trying his best to lift this my biggest flathead catfish, and he was able to at least lift it enough to get a good picture. And it was very cold at that time too. I caught channel catfish, blue catfish, flathead catfish, walleye, wipers, white bass, and I'm not even sure what else I caught there, but definitely trouts, right? Plenty of trouts during the winter over there. You just add like another $15 on your fishing license and unlimited trout. That video, you'll see how easy it is to catch trout because the lakes are stock, so it's basically unlimited. You definitely get your money. I would go like during lunchtime and catch my limit. There's time I go every lunch, but then we ran out of space on our freezer, so I kind of stop fishing. It's just so easy to catch fish over there at freshwater fishing. And also trout, they don't have any kind of like spikes on them, so it's so easy to handle the trouts. And we definitely enjoy our time over there with my kids and of course my family. When I moved to Hawaii, that's when my saltwater fishing started. I started land-based fishing, and then I started spearfishing, and then I got into kayak fishing. And if you see, Hawaii basically got the same kind of fish that we have here on Guam, being tropical. Half a day and welcome back to Living It Good. Today I'm gonna do an introduction on how it all started for me for fishing, right? And what kayaks I have when I go fishing here on the island. Here you see right here is where I started. A small cheap kayak. Bought it from Walmart when I was back in the States. And it's just a basic kayak, you can adjust the seat here. This is what it was in the storage, so the backrest is folded down, but just a basic kayak will get you on your quest to catch some fish for your family. All right, you don't need an expensive kayak. This is probably, I bought two of these exact ones, I think $300 for two, right? And what happened is I sold one for $200. All right, so but really I got one for $100. The only thing I did is I installed the fish rod holders right here, right? I installed them, the brown one right here, just to waterproof them. I put some sealant so they don't leak water. All right, so just a basic kayak like this will get you through. All right, you don't need an expensive kayak. So this kayak is definitely an upgrade for my green one, the first one you saw. This one is a major upgrade on a regular kayak. This is not a paddle, this is a pedal using your leg. So you have right here the propeller. This is the powerhouse right here. This is a game changer versus a traditional kayak. It will let you go further, go longer while you're fishing. But this right here is the fastest pedal kayak from Old Town. It is called a Salty 120 PDL. It is their fastest, lighter. I'm tracking it is the lighter as well, all the PDL. And it just makes fishing a lot easier. This is my typical setup right here. If you see, I have my pedal, right? I have my paddle, just in case something happened with the pedal, the propeller breaks or something. All right, I have my emergency pedal. Or if the water's too shallow, I will use the paddle because I cannot put down the propeller in order for me to go. So typical setup, right? I got my fish finder. The battery is located at the back right here. That's the battery, right? This is my fishing tackle bag, the seat, life vest, right? I have my fishing pole holder, fishing poles. I got my cooler and my fish net, all right? This cooler right here is a pretty decent sized cooler. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's 54 or 60 quarts cooler. And I have mopping stick, drill the center, put a rod, preferably like this, because this will, when it stick to the fish, it will not slide off. It has some grip. All right, and then just sharpen it, and guess what? You have a solid kage, and this thing floats because I added this grips right here. They float. So it's a simple homemade kage. Drill a hole. I gotta paint this so when it drops in the water, you can see it easily. Put some rope around it, tied it, put some electrical tape, and you got a solid grip. And it's just long enough for a kayak. You know, I don't want it. You know, I don't want it too large on a kayak, for harder for me to. Life vests, you must have life vests. All right, doesn't matter if you are an expert swimmer, you just don't know what could happen out there, right? It could be just a strong riptide can pull you towards the middle of the ocean, and this is just safe. You don't even have to do anything, you'll float. You can't go wrong with this. And of course, having a knife, just in case you get tangled, it's safety, right? I always got a knife. For hardware, for tools, got my fish grip, fish flyer if you don't want to touch the fish, very helpful, and your plier, right? I've got hooked before on my finger. Good thing I have it's very important to have a strong plier that can cut through hooks. If not, you're gonna struggle. And my typical right here, I got 2 fishing poles. The first fishing pole I have right here, it's a lightweight. Lightweight, it's only rated 10 to 20 pound line, right? And I have a 3000 size reel, very light. It's a Shimano Ultegra. So this is my ultra light jigging. And this right here is my medium size to heavy fishing pole setup. I have a fishing pole that is 15 to 40 pound rating. I'm sorry, 15 to 40 pound rating. And I have a 6,000 size Daiwa Legalis. See right here, I got my homemade PVC rod holder, and I also have an additional rod holder on my cooler. So how many is that? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. I got 13 rod holders, including the one at the back of the seat right there. I don't know how many rod holders you need, but they are very useful. All right, so I don't like to bring more than 2 rods. Really, if I could, I'll just bring 1 rod, because stuff gets a little bit hectic when you're on a kayak. You're in a small seat, basically. This is your cockpit right here, and if you have too many rods at the back, things can get tangled. And this right here is another homemade live bait. All right, this is where I put my atulai. If I got atulai or any kind of fish like salmonetti, small jacks, I keep him alive and I use him as a live bait. So just get a regular PVC, right? PVC are cheaper. This is an ABS, which is good because they float. So I just painted the top portion white so you don't miss it when it's on the water, right? I drill a hole, bend it, make it sharp like this, so when you tow it through the water, it slides a lot better. It doesn't stop or anything, right? And you don't need to put any holes on the side, all right? Because this tube is submerged in the water, right? Or right on top of the water. It has holes in the front. That's why I even covered tape around the tip, because it gets too much water, all right? And then this is the back right here, right? This is where you put the fish and take the fish out. So this can hold about, I say, it can hold a lot of fish, probably up to like 15 atulai, but they're not gonna survive too long because they're too tight. I want to put about 6 to 8 atulai, probably, but comfortably probably 6. They'll survive all day long without, you know, hurting themselves. That's for live bait. And if I don't want to spear my fish, I use my net to get them, because it is better when you bring the fish home. It doesn't have any hole that can ruin the meat, right? You want your meat nice and smooth, so when you fillet them, you get everything. But this right here, if it's a big, right, you gotta dispatch that fish right away. It will go crazy all over your tackle. It can slap you in the face or break stuff on your kayak. So very important you have a kage, right? Matter of fact, when I harvest a shark, it's a 55-pound shark, this will not even pierce. And this, every time I go, I sharpen this. It's just that the shark's skin is very, very strong. I'm saying stronger than leather, because I could not penetrate through that, and I was going hard, right? And I bent this, and it did not penetrate. How many times I tried to stab it? I gotta go through the belly, the soft part of the shark, to stab it. All right, so this is my setup. All right, probably weigh 110 pounds without gear. All right, with gear it could weigh up to 150, 180, depends how much you're carrying, right? Ice in a cooler, tackle, all right, jigs, they all add weight. All right, fishing pole. This is your dolly, right? Homemade. I added these. All right, this is good. It will not rust, because I had some with the aluminum, but the hardware are like stainless. Over time they will rust. So having a plastic cart, make sure it's heavy duty enough to carry your kayak, and then modify it so it will fit your kayak. Like I added these pipes right here, so it'll sit perfectly on the bottom of the kayak, because that's how it is shaped. So this right here is another setup I have for this kayak. Another homemade PVC. I put a plywood as the floor. You know, it's just being held by the bungee cord. It's pretty stable. It's not gonna go anywhere, even if you flip this kayak. All right, so this setup is made to get a little bit more space, to get a little bit more length on your cooler, right? So I have this cooler right here, which is, I think it's 38 to 40 inches, right? And I have extra fishing pole holder right here, so that's an extra space right there. You can put some stuff on the sides, right? And this is a total of 17 rod holders. All right, I mean, who needs 17 stuff to put on a rod holder on a kayak, right? I don't know, but I haven't done it. I haven't put that much stuff, right? But it's always nice to get extra rod holders, because you never know what you're gonna need, right? If I want to put stuff away, I'll just put them on the side, away from me, away from getting tangled, and it's nice. The problem with this, that's why I don't use it all the time, This is a good installation, right? But it doesn't last as long as the regular cooler right here. This will last me all day, right? All day on the water. This, I'd say probably 6 hours, all right? And then the ice will get melted, right? Or it's already melted. So that's the only issue. This can last all day with a bag of 10-pound ice. It will last all day versus this, probably 6 hours, right? So this is good if you want to go light. Just bring a bag just in case, you know, you're not really anticipating catching a lot of fish. But if you are, get a bigger cooler, right? So that's the only issue here, is the bag does not, you know, retain ice for that long. But I like this. If you ask me, I like this better because it has all this rod pole holder to the back. The problem, I cannot fit this cooler between this setup. All right, maybe next time I would make a better rod holder where it's wide enough where I can put a bigger cooler than oh, win-win there. This is another 12 foot, but the difference between these or the two kayak are, this is a very stable kayak. I tried to flip this and I fell off the kayak before I even able to flip this, so I know it's very stable. I can actually jump off the water and come back just by going from the side and climbing, all right? I cannot do that on the orange kayak I have, the Salty 120. It is meant for speed, so it is not stable on the water. You have to do a lot of balancing, all right? One thing I didn't cover earlier, when you're on the water, right, keep your center of gravity center on a kayak. Think about as your head is the center of gravity, right? So if you go too much lean to the left or right, you will flip. You got to keep your head somewhat at the center of the kayak, and you'll feel it. Like if you think you're about to flip, do not go more than the limits of your kayak, all right? So keep your head, and it's almost like a gyro. If it's the ocean move too much, going like this, if the ocean goes, you know, this way, then you're going this way. So you're balancing all the time, moving. You gotta get into that, get used to it, all right? Feel how your kayak works, and you will never flip, all right? When I was in Hawaii, I was using my green kayak, all right? And we were out. The place is called Electric Beach, all right? So you can probably Google that, Electric Beach, because it's not that far from the power plant. And the power plant's exhaust, or the water that's coming out from, I guess, the coolant, you know, right? The cooling system goes out about, I would say, about 1/4 mile to 1/2 mile from the beach. And a lot of divers goes over there to scuba because there's a lot of life there. I think because the water that's coming out from 2 huge pipes, really strong current, right? And it's warm water, so the fish loves that. And there's a lot of tourists there. While I was fishing around that area, I saw 2 tourists all the way at the back, all right? They were fighting, and I ended up drifting a little bit towards them, and the lady was crying already. And I thought they were just having a fight. And when I was getting near, she approached me. She was saying, you know, "Sir, do you know how to get to the beach?" And I'm like, "You can see the beach, it's right there." So I was like, "Yeah, it's right there." And then she was just crying, right? And I just had the feeling that they were already stranded. I mean, there's people I've seen that they go there to swim, right? But these two, they didn't have any goggles. They just had the pool noodle, and that's it, 2 of them, right? So then I found out they drifted too far. They're too tired, they're gonna go. So the female was just crying, blaming her husband for going there. And the next thing I saw, I look at them, they were wearing their slippers, right? You do not go in the water with slippers because you can't propel yourself. Either that or get a fin or take out the slippers, because it will not work as, you know, it will not propel yourself, you know, good with slippers on. Anyway, I offered, "Do you need help?" right? Looking at my kayak, the capacity on that is like 225 pounds, and I'm already at 150 pounds. And right away, the lady's like, "Yes, need help." I'm like, geez. Because she looked a little, she's heavier than me. Let's just put it that way, right? But I know the kayak will somehow still float. It's not gonna be submerged, and it doesn't have any hole. It's a solid kayak. No holes like this one. You can open a hole right here. It's also act like extra storage, right, for batteries, gears, and all that. And so it's a big storage here. That the green kayak I have does not have that. So it's basically a total enclosed kayak. I know it will not sink. So I told her what to do. Jump. I'm gonna lean a little bit to the opposite side so we don't flip. So she was able to go, and I paddled, no joke, about 30 minutes. I told her husband, stay there, I'll come after. I paddled for a little bit until I got to the safe side, and I told her, I'm gonna drop you here. There's plenty of swimmers here, and you can slowly go to the shore. I didn't go all the way to the shore because it was like 5-foot surf. All right, that's not the place that I went, but that's the closest to her safety. So I dropped her off there. She was fine because she was floating anyways, right? She got a pool noodle. Came back, got her husband, and he drifted so far. So I had to go probably half a mile more to pick him up. When he got into the kayak, he's a big guy. He's probably 6'4", over 200 pounds. All right, and then I was like, man, just go ahead, let's try, right? So he got in, but he got so tired. As soon as he sat on the kayak, he leaned, we flipped. And thank goodness I have my vest, right? So I float right away. He was swimming, he was very apologetic, you know. It's like, I'm really sorry. You know, I was like, no, it's fine. I flipped my kayak right away. So that's the other thing that you need to learn if you're gonna kayak. You need to learn how to flip back your kayak if you capsize it, right? It's just for safety. So I flipped back my kayak, and no joke, that's the only time I ever tied my fishing pole to my kayak. Because I was a new kayaker, I tied everything, right? I flipped, so the only thing I lost there was my bait. I was able to recover everything. Tools, everything was tied to the kayak. I didn't lose anything, except pride, probably. So I paddled. It was hard, because the guy was so big, and he got his foot hanging from the kayaks, the front of the kayak. It was a lot of friction and all that. It took me forever to get him safety, but I tell you what, I did some good deed there. They were very thankful. You know, they were tourists in Hawaii, and I possibly saved their life because they were drifted so far, and there's no one around there, no boats, no swimmers or anything. It was just luck that they saw me, and I was drifted that way. But so I was already exhausted from that fishing. I decided to go back home, right, or go back to the shore, and I just call it a day because I was tired. Towards going back to the beach, right, I flip again because Hawaii got pretty strong wave, right? Most of their areas are stronger than majority of the beaches here on Guam. I flip again. This time I lost a pocket knife, but I got everything else. I was just so exhausted, and I flipped right towards the shore. Good thing there's some good Samaritan there. Two guys helped me flip the kayak, got my stuff out of the water that were floating, and I was able to go back. So that was my, definitely learned my lesson, flip twice in the same day. Since then, you know, cross my finger, knock on wood, right? I haven't flipped again. And I haven't tied any of my gears on my fishing pole. So if I ever flip, I will lose hundreds of dollars worth of equipment, right? So I'm definitely very cautious. Hopefully I will never flip. It's hard to say never, but hopefully I will not flip where I will learn a hard story, right? But having ropes, you know, lines and all that with your fishing pole is just annoying. It's hard to go around and switch and all that, and that's why I don't put them. But the right answer, you're supposed to put them so you don't lose them. What you see right here, what is this, right? This kayak is the same thing. It's very stable, right? The only difference, but it's slower. It's 1 mile per hour slower. My fast kayak can go about 3.75 mile an hour on the cruising speed. That's my comfortable speed, right? It can go up to 5 miles an hour if I crank it, but it's not sustainable. I cannot go that fast, that long. I mean, that long because I get tired, right? But 3.75, I can sustain that all day. The cruising speed for this, for me to all day, is 1 mile below, so about 2.75 to 2.75, right? Because it is heavy, it is wider. The bottom of this looks like a pontoon. That's why it is very stable. That's the only draw is that 1 mile per hour makes a big difference on a kayak. All right, that's about what, like over 30% speed increase. So I'll take that, because when you're tired, right? If I'm going 2 miles an hour because I'm tired of my fast kayak, imagine on this heavy kayak, I will probably be going only like 1 mile or 0.5 mile an hour because I'm tired. This right here, what you see is a modified. I can put a 2.5 horsepower outboard motor here, or an electric motor, right? And I tried it. The outboard motor is just too strong for this. Doesn't matter how much I adjust it. The boat wants to dig in because I cannot tilt it far enough here. I don't have a lot of space when I put it. So what I'm gonna do, I just use it for electric, because the electric will work a lot better here, all right? That's if I don't want to pedal, right? But the point of me going to kayak fishing is exercise, because when I'm pedaling, it's like biking. I'm pedaling all day. It may not be the same constant speed at all time, but I'm constantly pedaling at random speed, right? And that's the difference between having a regular paddle kayak and a pedal kayak. The pedal kayak, you have control of your arms at all times, and you can just use your feet to propel yourself, versus if you're on a pedal, you gotta, a paddle, you gotta paddle first, get to the point, and then go fish. And then you can control the drift or how your boat turns. This one you can control. This one, a pedal kayak with a propeller, open up the fishing experience for me in a whole different level. I can go all day. I'll probably cover like between 10 miles to 16 or more miles in a day, versus a paddle, which is, you'll be exhausted because you're using your hands all day fishing, and then you're also paddling. You're gonna be very exhausted, and it is not very sustainable. But you can do it. You don't have to buy this, right? The way I look at it, this is an investment. It's like you're buying a car, you're buying a nice car, an expensive car, because you want to make sure you get to work. You don't have to worry about breaking down, because that's how you make your living. You gotta get a car, right, to bring you to work. Well, I gotta get the fish. This is gonna make my fishing a lot easier by having pedal kayak. You get your money. Once you start catching fish, you're adding all the costs, how much, would be the cost of the fish that you catch. It will end up paying for itself, plus extra. All right, fish are expensive. All right, and also if you're gonna go charter, right? You go charter, it is expensive. It's like they charge, the charting companies, the charting business, right? Charter boats, they charge between $150 to $200 an hour. All right, so you're looking at, you want just 4 hours on the water, right? They trawl, you dip sea fishing for 4 hours. It's gonna cost between $600 to $800. It depends on the business, because some of them have better boats, more capacity, right? Faster and all that, nicer, luxurious, right? It all depends. But 4 hours, $600 to $800, no way. I spent on the water probably I stayed there all day, like 12 hours, right? Sunrise to sunset, about 12 hours. No way I can afford paying charters to take me fishing. The only drawback, you cannot go as far as the charters, because they are boats. They are fast. They can go cover miles and miles in a short amount of time, versus a kayak, right? I am limited to like 5 mile radius for where I start if I don't want to get too tired, right? But with the drifting, coming back, it all adds up at the end of the day, like between 10 to 16 or more miles. And that's a good exercise, y'all. Here I'm gonna show you guys my favorite jigs. All right, so when I was first getting into fishing, all right, it is hard sometimes to find out how to fish, right? Because some fishermen, right, they don't like giving away their secrets. And I totally understand everybody have different preference, right? But for me, all right, I'm willing to share because you know what, the ocean is big. Plus, when you go to the same spot, it's not like the fish are gonna be there the same day. You know, some fish are, they just pass, they're migrated, right? They go there, if you don't catch them, they're gone, and then another group will come there, right? So the ocean's not gonna run out of fish just for you teaching people, because it's been going on for hundreds of years. People are fishing, right? And we haven't ran out of fish. Unless you're a commercial fisherman, then yes, you might make a big dent on that area and basically, you know, take a lot of fish on the water. But if you're just, you know, for personal consumption like I am right now, I'm not selling, right? It's plenty of fish in the ocean to share, right? I fish enough that sometimes I'm able to share with friends. But my favorite jigs, hands down, I use other jigs as well, but I have to say hands down, these are my favorite jigs. So these are called Abu Garcia, right? They are shore skid, salty stage, right? 20 grams. You got the gold, you got the rainbow color, right? And you got the gold with the different patterns. And then this one is a different jig, just $1 jig from online, right? 25 grams, rainbow. And another rainbow, but it's a glow, 100 gram. And I have here, it's a ahi jig, right? I put an extra glow here so that it'll shine more. I feel like it's effective. But let me go back to this jigs right here. You cannot find them anymore, right? On a regular store. I'm sorry, I'll take that back. You can find them, but they are expensive now. I guess they canceled on making these because the website that I bought it from is they are based in Japan. And when I bought these, they were on sale for $1.90 a jig, $1.90. You can search this on online, and you'll see that they're selling them for like almost $20 each. Crazy prices. And they're coming from Japan, some of them, right? But crazy when I bought these for like $1.90. I got a few more, but once I'm out, I am out. And be careful out there. There's some Abu Garcia fake website out there. They'll take your money. It looks legit, so you just gotta make sure you be careful when you're buying online if it's not a legit website. Go to the trusted one. All right, these right here is responsible for many of my successful catch. Something about how they're made. If you look at it, they're heavier in the end, and their shape, somehow they flick better in the water. I'll show a video when I check how they, you know, they jig on the water. This 20 grams, and actually a fish bit it. I just didn't put any hook, just for demonstration. This is a 30 gram, 25 gram, 100 gram, heavier, right? And if I'm not mistaken, this is also another 100 gram. So the difference between assist hook right here and treble hook. Assist hook, if you catch a shark, all right, most likely it will bite it off, that's what I want. I don't want to deal with the shark, right? But if you catch a shark with this treble hook, this is a solid jig, you're gonna have a battle to get it back, or just cut it off, cut your losses, right? If you don't want to mess with the shark. This actually caught a big fish. You can still see some mark here, right? I used it one time, I caught a shark. The bite marks. But this is one of my trusty jig. I already refitted it, all right? Put new eyes, made it secure. Made a brand new assist jig. I think it's 10-aught. Very sharp, very sharp. All right. Ooh, look at that. Here I tested the Abu Garcia 20-gram jig. It doesn't have any hook. I was just testing it, see how it flutters and flick in the water. And I've seen it. It's pretty interesting. It's actually pretty cool to see. Even though I was struggling to swim at the same time, flick it above the water, and my son also was struggling to keep the camera on the jig because the water wasn't too clear at that day as well. But you'll see it on slow motion. The actual fish striked it, put it in his mouth, and since it didn't have any hook, it spit it out right there. When it the jig goes back up, you'll see right there, the fish is gonna grab it right there, brought it down, and then I jigged it back out of his mouth right there. Pretty cool to see.